Hey guys, this is MusicTechHelpGuy, and today I want to do a video on just basic vocal tuning with Melodyne 4. I recently made the jump up to Melodyne 4 Studio, and you can do pretty much everything I'm doing here with the studio version as well as the editor version. Now the lower versions, like the Essential and Assistant versions, you can do some of this, but not all of this. In the past, I've been using mostly Melodyne 3 for a long time, and I'm aware Melodyne 4 has been out for a while, but I just hadn't made the jump yet, and I had made some previous videos on Melodyne 2 and 3, so now I just want to sort of start some update videos using Melodyne 4. So here's just a vocal clip from a song that we're recording, and an instrumental clip from a song we're recording. And the vocals are male vocals, they're me. The only processing on them right now is a little bit of EQ and compression. Other than that, they are completely untuned. So let me just play you the track.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
All right, that sounds okay, but you can tell that there's certain notes where I'm a little flat. So let's tune this up. So I'm going to go to the vocal clip. This works whether your vocals are in stereo or mono. Most of the time, your vocals are going to be in mono because you're using one mic. These are in stereo just because I recorded this in Pro Tools and then bounced it out, which automatically made it a stereo file. So it works for stereo as well as mono. So I'm going to click on my vocal track, go over to my audio effects, go down to audio units, go to Ceremony and Melodyne. It works very similarly with all DAWs. I just happen to be using Logic today. Now, the way Melodyne works, if you've never used it before, is you have to print your vocal recording into the plugin, then tune it up in the plugin. The other thing that's really important with Melodyne is to make sure that it's the first insert in your chain of inserts. You don't want it to come after anything else. I did have EQ and compression on this, but that was done on input with hardware, so there's nothing I can do about that. But you don't want to have your reverb first, then have Melodyne second. So typically you want Melodyne to be the very first insert on your track. The other thing to keep in mind is that once you print all this into Melodyne, you're not going to be able to go back out here and edit this again. So really what you should do is do any edits out here first, then print it into Melodyne. So I've already in advance taken out all of the breaths in my recording and taken out all the areas in between where there may be some headphone bleed. So I've already done the edits on the vocals before I print into Melodyne. All right, so I'm just going to make the screen a little bit larger here. As you can see, Melodyne looks a lot like a piano roll editor. You can see the black and white keys on the keyboard. They're gray and white here. So all I'm going to do is just set the playhead somewhere before the vocal recording. And then I'm just going to hit the transfer button up here. And I'm just going to hit play. It's going to transfer our recording into Melodyne.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other? Oh, so many times I've told you, in so many ways I've shown you. Why do we have to say goodbye?
All right. So as you saw there, as I was transferring this into Melodyne, it said monophonic detection in the middle, telling us what detection algorithm it's using. Melodyne, depending on what version you have, has the ability to analyze things monophonically as well as polyphonically, as well as percussively. So you should make sure when, before you transfer and go up to the algorithm tab up here and choose under set default to whatever you want this to be. Now, but by default it's on automatic, and it will automatically determine melodic with vocals, anything that just plays one note at a time. If you had, say, guitar chords, it would probably choose one of the polyphonic settings. So for today, we're just using the melodic setting or monophonic setting. So that's that. Now, the thing that's weird about Melodyne is that you can't press the space bar just to play your your session. If you do that, it's going to play the whole session. If I just want to hear what's in Melodyne, I actually have to double click on the top toolbar up here.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to...
And then you can hit spacebar to stop. The first tool that we're going to use just to sort of adjust the tuning of notes and select notes is just the main tool here. It's literally just called the main tool. If you click and hold on each tool, there's multiple different tools in between there. But we're just going to use the main tool for now. To zoom in Melodyne, you hover over the right or left side of the scroll bars, and then you can pull in or pull out. So I'm going to zoom in a bit. And I'm also going to zoom in a bit vertically. And then if you're finding that your recording was done at a little bit quieter recording, and you're not seeing the little blobs, little waveforms as loud as you want them to be, you can adjust that right here. So this is just your sort of blob or waveform zoom. So let's just tune up this very first phrase to start. I like when I'm vocal tuning in Melodyne, I like to work in small chunks. So let's start with this small chunk here.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
All right, there's some problems here. We could start tuning all this and quantizing all this to the grid, but there's some problems here. Look at this note way down here.
We always have to. We always have to.
This is always have to. And for some reason, it dropped this note down here. So there's something wrong with the note detection. One of the tools that you should become very familiar with is this one right here. This is called the note assignment mode. Right now, we're working in the edit mode, which is this one. We want to work in the note assignment mode. So you click on that. What it does is it allows you to grab that note and move it to its correct analysis. It's a correct location. So this is an incorrect location. So it also tells us, well, here's if we hover over it, it tells us, oh, I guess I have to hover over it to do that, but it tells us 2 locations. You can see it just very faintly there in gray, 2 and 3. It's probably up by 3 because it's the second half of the word always. So you just pull it up, and then you go back to edit mode, and there we go. Let's see if there's any more of those in this phrase. Doesn't look like it, so it looks like we're good now. All right, now the tendency with Melodyne is just to drag over all the notes and quantize them to the grid, but there's some things that you really need to do first before we do that. Sometimes Melodyne's analysis isn't perfect, as we just saw. Sometimes it doesn't always break up notes into multiple notes that need to be broken up into multiple notes. So let's listen to this one more time.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to...
Like right here, see this little drift up? The line shows us the pitch drift in the note. And sometimes we have to break up notes into, like larger notes, into smaller pieces in order to tune them correctly. And as you can see right here,
we always...
It's actually 3 different notes. We always. So what we can do is we can hover over the top of the note, and you get this tool right here. This is the note separation tool. You can also select it up here if you want to use it individually, but by using just the main tool and hovering at the top of a note, you can double click and split that note into 2 separate notes.
We always have to live and die. Can't we?
Here's the word can't. It's sort of like a scoop up. It's not can't, it's can't. So I'm going to double click on that as well.
Can't we live?
Right here. We as well.
Can't we live this?
Here's another one.
Live this.
Live is 2 notes. Live. And it made it 1 note. So we double click there. Split it in half.
Live this life for each other.
Other. Each other. It's 3 different notes.
Each other.
There we go. So that's one of the tricky things, is identifying the faults in Melodyne's analysis. Now, Melodyne is very, very good at analyzing the notes, but when you have a grittier singer, a rock and roll singer like this, it's not as perfect in its analysis. If you have a very sort of streamlined singer, and frankly, maybe a singer that's more in tune than me, you'll find that the analysis is more correct. So Let me just listen through this one more time, make sure there's no mistakes, and then we'll quantize it to the grid.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? To live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
All right. Now, looking at this, just looking at the scale, it looks like it's A minor. Let's see if Melodyne has sensed the correct scale. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag over this whole phrase, and we're going to go up to this option right here. This is correct pitch menu, I believe it's what it is. Yeah, macro, correct pitch macro. Click on that, and you can adjust the pitch center of all the notes from 0 to 100%. So if you want hard tuning, you can tune this all the way to 100%. If you just want a softer tuning, you can do it somewhere in between. Now, another thing you can do is, as long as Melodyne has correctly sensed the key that you're in, you can choose to snap to whatever key it senses. So in our case, A minor, and it correctly snapped to A minor. So, so we'll choose that. I'll show you in a second, just in case if it doesn't sense the correct key, I'll show you how to go change that. And I'm going to pull up the pitch center to 100%. So now all of my notes are just snapping to the notes in the A minor scale, which is all white keys on the piano: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. No black keys, no sharps or flats. Now, the pitch drift option, the second option, what this does is it centers the vibrato on the note. I don't want to do that for all of the notes. I just want to do that for some of the notes. So I'm going to keep this at 0 for now, and we'll come back to it. So let's see what this sounds like.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
Now it sounds in tune, but it sounds like some of the notes have gone to the wrong place.
Why?
Like Y should be sort of like a scoop up.
Whoa.
So I'm going to pull that down a half step.
Why do we always?
Always.
We always.
Sounds like it should be a scooped note. Always.
We always have to say goodbye. Always have to say goodbye.
Yeah, to say, it shouldn't go up there either.
To say goodbye.
To say good.
To say goodbye. To say goodbye. Say goodbye. Do we always have to live and die?
Live and should go down. And.
Live and die. Can't we live this life? Can't we live this life?
This sounds a little too auto-tuned. I'm going to pull that up a bit.
Can't we live?
A lot of times you'll find, and again, it depends on the singer, if they do a lot of sort of scooped notes where they say live instead of going live, live, there's a little scoop on it. Sometimes you may find yourself going against the keys, what I'm doing here. I'm pulling this note 1/2 step away from the note it's scooped to make the scoop sound a little bit more natural.
Can't we live this life for each other? Life for each other.
It should be laugh for each.
For each other.
There we go. So it does take a little bit of finessing it to get it in the right place. And I as a singer, I'm not the best example of easy to work with vocals. A lot of times you'll work with much easier singers who don't require really that much vocal tuning and not really this much work.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? To say goodbye.
Yeah, this does need to be down there.
Say goodbye. Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other? Live this life for each other.
So let me show you that the second slider, the pitch drift slider. What this does, like I said before, is it centers the pitch drift on the note. So like a note like this, it kind of starts lower and then goes up. So if we want to center the vibrato on the note, we can adjust this up and it'll better center the vibrato on the note. Now this isn't the T-Pain effect where you take out all the vibrato in the note. You can actually do that too, but there's another tool for that. That's the pitch modulation tool up here, which we're not really going to go over in this video because it's outside the scope of this video. But you can use the second tool down, the pitch drift tool, to adjust. To adjust how far the vibrato is out of center or in center on the note. So let's listen to this last phrase one more time.
For each other.
Maybe a little less.
Each other.
All right, so let's listen to this with the music now. Let's see if this sounds a little better. So here's the, I'm gonna just bypass Melodyne. Here's the before.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
And here's the after.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
All right, so let's do the second phrase now. Now you can actually print these into the Melodyne plugin one at a time. You just have to set the playhead where you want it to be, hit transfer again, hit play again, but we did it all at once, so we don't need to do that again. Let's go to this next phrase here, and using all the same tactics we did before, let's play with this with the second phrase.
Oh, so many times
Here's a note that needs to go down. You could go this. It's like, oh, it's like a scoop up. Oh, so many.
Oh, so many times I've told you. Times I've told you. In so many.
This note right here
is
in the wrong octave. So we're going to click on our note assignment mode. Click on it. Probably needs to go down here.
In so many.
Yep.
In so many ways I've shown.
Ways I've.
Ways I've.
Yeah, ways I've. It's two notes. So we'll double click on that. Well, that was not. Okay, pulled it way up there. Okay.
Ways I've.
That's obviously a mistake. So let's go back to our note assignment mode. Pull this down. Yeah, it should be there.
So many ways I've shown.
Yep.
Ways I've shown.
You'll find with singers that are kind of growly, sometimes the growly notes just don't, they just don't do well with the analysis. Cleaner singers and female singers typically are easier to tune than growly rock male singers.
Ways I've shown.
Now this we could cut this out if we want to. There's a little scoop there, but I'm just gonna leave it alone. It's okay.
Shown you.
So if you let's cut this out.
You. Why do we have to say goodbye?
Cool. So we've cut those up that need to be cut up. Let's drag over all these. I'm gonna leave that little bottom note alone there. Sometimes like low scoops like that, I'll just leave them alone because they sound funky if you try to tune them up. Let's go to our correct pitch macro, pull the pitch center up, snap to A minor. Let's see what this sounds like.
Well, so many times I've told you, in so many ways.
This little scoop up needs to come down.
Well, so many times I've
And maybe up here.
well, so many times I've told you, in so many ways. Times I've told you, in so many ways I've shown you.
Sounds a little robotic there. Let's pull this scoop down. There we go. It's supposed to be you. There we go. Just had one note off there.
Why do we have to say goodbye?
All right. So let's use our pitch drift on these long notes just to center the vibrato a bit better. I think there was one more over here. Nope, that was it. Okay. Actually, well, okay, let's try it. We'll do that one too. All right, let's listen to this whole thing.
Well, so many times I've told you, in so many ways I've shown you. Why do we have to say goodbye?
Yeah, there's a scoop on this, on the bye of goodbye here. And when we pulled the pitch drift in, it really made it sound robotic.
Bye.
It's too straight sounding, so I'm just going to double click on the first part of the note. And then I'm going to quantize that pitch center down. So it actually sounds like a bye, bye, like two different notes.
Bye.
There you go. All right, let's listen to that whole section with the music.
Well, so many times I've told you, in so many ways I've shown you. Why do we have to say goodbye?
All right, one last thing I want to show you is, in our example, Melodyne correctly determined what key we were in based on the material in the vocal recording. If it doesn't correctly choose the right key, what you can do is you can go up to Options up here, and you can go down to Scale Editor, and then you can go to Scale Detective and pull that up and show that. And let's say, for instance, that the song was in A minor, or excuse me, the song was in G minor or something, but it chose something else, like D minor, or A minor, or whatever. So if you know what the key of the song is, but Melodyne is incorrectly sensing what key it is, all you have to do is click on the corresponding note for the key of the song and choose what you want it to be. And then when you go up here to the macro, you'll see that you can now snap to G minor as opposed to snapping to A minor. But this is actually an A minor, so we'll choose A minor. And then to hide this, you just go back up to Options, Scale Editor, and you deselect Scale Detective. All right, one last thing I always like to do is, as long as you're committed to your edits, to your tuning edits, I like to print this without any effects on it with all of the vocal tuning in it. In Pro Tools, you actually have to bust the output of the track over to another audio track and print it in place. In Logic, there's just a real easy right-click and then bounce in place function, which is Control B. So you just click on the track, hit Control B. Make sure that you don't bypass your audio effects. Make sure that your the level of the track is at unity, which basically means that the fader is at 0, and then you hit OK. And what it does is it prints that track down to a new track with all of your vocal tuning on it, so you no longer need the Melodyne plugin up. Now, just in case you need to go back and make some edits on this later, you can always just mute that clip, hit the H button to hide, and hide that track for later. And now you've got a fully rendered, tuned vocal recording that you don't need Melodyne there anymore for.
Why do we always have to say goodbye? Do we always have to live and die? Can't we live this life for each other?
And there you go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Hey guys, if you'd like to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel to see multiple new videos added every week. Also, you can check out carneymediagroup.com, where you can view all of my video tutorials, search for specific topics, download the videos ad-free, and in some cases you can purchase session content so you can work along with me in the video. Also, please consider giving a monthly contribution at patreon.com/MusicTechHelpGuy. As always, thanks for your support and thanks for watching.